So the shoe finally fell. There's probably a lot of thoughts going on around this, so let's talk about it. Alright, given the nature of this video, it's going to be a little more freeform, a little less scripted, so bear with me. The Cycle Frontier announced that they will be shutting down their servers in September. It was released a little over a year ago, and all initial indications said it would be a good long-term alternative to Tarkov. It would be tempting to sit here and rattle off reasons the cycle failed to gain traction. While I'm sure I could make a 10 reasons why the cycle failed video and it would get a bunch of views, I'll let someone else make that video. This video is here to celebrate what the cycle was, what it represents to gaming space, and why I think it was special. I mean, for starters, it's an extraction game. As at the time it was released, those were still few and far between. For many of you, this was a change of pace from Tarkov or from Hunt, but for me, it was my first. Only after the cycle did I really dive into others. This game, and likely this game genre, made even minor gunfights exciting. In many PvP shooters, you can be in gunfight after gunfight for 30 minutes straight and have this KD score at the end of it, and that's cool, something to look at. Hey, look what I did, you know? But honestly, you'll forget about that by the time the next one starts. It's exciting, but in a dull, numbed down kind of way. Like nothing to lose, nothing to gain, except for maybe a pop-up dopamine hit for some kind of unlock. It's all well and good and all, but it doesn't hit quite like that 20-minute drop with just a couple of gunfights, risking everything you have on you and trying to escape with that secure loot stack. Each step, each shot, each dive for cover, it becomes that much more memorable precisely because the risk involved. And even because of that, you learn to be sharp everywhere, all the time, and be tense, constantly. You even learned to be sharp on evac. Suddenly hearing someone sprint at you, or a grenade being lobbed at your ship, just jumps you quick and fast. How long did it take for you to go from, oh no, someone is coming, to like, alright, here we go again? Another thing that made the game unique is its unique environment. Like, it's the sci-fi element that drew me in was made all the better by the ruggedness by which it was delivered. The old broken down facilities, the overgrown fauna, the marks on the map that showed that this place was lived in and the catastrophe had occurred that brought us to the position we are in today. You remember when you saw the first storm warning? Man, I'm willing to bet that you thought you had to evac or you died. And when did you decide to stay during the first storm? You know, just to figure out what it was? That awe that struck you probably had you staying indoors for the first time. And then you learned to storm run. Man, did my drops get so much more interesting. Learning to make a mad dash to my evac during the storm increased my survival rate so much. And getting back on planet was so easy. No queue times and a constant flow of players entering and leaving. This really sold the settings of the game. This is, I think, one of the cycle's best additions to the game. In my opinion, if you get matched in with a group and the match doesn't add new players, it's a little more than a BR mode. Like, that's just my opinion. Yeah, you have an extract, but if it's not persistent, it's a BR missing a ring closing in on you. There's nothing wrong with that. I just hope other games learn from it and adopt it. Since this was my first extraction, I hated the idea of wipes initially. But after playing through a season, I understood the appeal. The ability to have a clean start was fun. That feeling of having a small inventory and slowly building up their arsenal was great. But in reality, the first two seasons I had way too much time on my hands and I was able to easily max stuff out pretty quickly, so not exactly the normal gaming experience. During season 3, I got a taste of a more casual time frame. I understand that wipes are a solution to an economic problem, but they have their downsides. No one wants to be forced to give up what they worked for, especially if they're not able to grind all that much. Things become more valuable for those who have to take longer to get it. This will be a constant hurdle for the extraction shooter, and I understand the need for wipes, but I hope that another game really tries to find a balance on this issue. And the voice over IP, man, the moments that you had because of the voice over IP, it was another great addition to the game. The funny remarks, the uneasy alliances, and the friends you picked up, they stick around in my memory. My favorite moment by far with this would have been the time we had 9 players teaming up and Zerg rushed the drill on Bright Sands. We came up with a code word that made sure we knew who was part of the squad, and then we just pushed hard. Just kind of chaos and just the buffoonery that was going on there, man, that was just a good time. I hope new games will learn from this. I hope they understand the tension that it creates, the stories that it can help you, make in your experiences of the game. I also hope they understand that being able to connect with more than just your new 3-man industry standard squad is a good thing as well. I've always liked more players personally, so I don't know. I felt like there was room for improvement in that regard, but hey. Now, I don't have rose-tinted glasses. I recognize the game had its flaws, and I always thought it was in poor taste for me to put that in my content unless it was specific and level-headed. It's demoralizing to the community, so if you really care about the game as a content creator, you have some level of responsibility to not be belligerently negative about the game. I always found that content creators that did this was done in poor taste, at least if you legitimately care about the game. For those of you who've made it this far and are down about the cycle being gone, I'll offer some advice. I am older than the average viewer of this channel and most cycle players. Mentally, probably older than that because of my background. But here it is. This is not the end of the book, but rather the end of a chapter. Life has chapters. Some of the biggest points of strife you'll have in your life is avoiding and resisting the end of the current chapter instead of embracing the new one. The extraction shooter looks to be the next big thing developers are interested in. So, we got that to look forward to. For too long, the only real option was Tarkov, which in my opinion was unfortunate. It is a niche game within a niche genre, which only served to push people away from the genre as a whole. The cycle won't be the last extraction shooter to die within the space, but it will be unique in its own ways. You now have the fond stories of your time within the game to lean on, to retell, and to remember, but also to draw future feedback for. In that way, through your experience, the Cycle Frontier will be helpful in creating better experiences for other games in the future. Alright, as far as this channel is concerned, I'm really looking forward to games coming out like Arc Raiders, The Division Heartland, Marathon, and all the other ones in development. I might post some hunt videos up if that seems interesting. Let me know down in the comments. Let's see where we go from here, and we'll see where it takes us. Thank you very much for watching, and good hunting.